Our group chose to design our lesson plans around a Grade 1 science curriculum objective. Both lesson plans began with a nature walk, but concluded in very different ways.
The objective of our Authentic Education lesson plan focused on identifying changes to the environment and whether or not those changes were seasonal or caused by humans. While on the nature walk, students would be required to collect a minimum of 6 items to later be used in creating self-portraits expressing how the changes they observed made them feel. To support diversity in the classroom, students would have the freedom to gather what piques their interest and could work in groups or pairs if desired. If necessary, the teacher could also aid students with their self-portraits.
Our Democratic Citizenship Education lesson plan would instead focus on understanding how our actions have consequences in nature and how to responsibly care for our environment. Instead of collecting foliage on the walk, students would collect rubbish after a discussion on why it is important to leave nature how we found it. Students will work in groups to better facilitate the trash cleanup. Out of the garbage collected, students would then recycle material to create seed planters that would be used to plant native species around the school. Afterwards, during a class discussion, students would have the opportunity to share how the walk made them feel.
With both lesson plans, the teacher will make use of anecdotal records to assess student participation. The Authentic Education notes would focus on personal reflection, while the Democratic Citizenship Education notes would instead focus on community responsibility and care. Additionally, the students would be graded on their self-portraits or seed planners, respectively.
Because the nature walk will take place on a concrete path, we believe this will make it accessible to nearly all students, even those with mobility diversities. We also don't foresee any major problems with English language learners because of the multimodal nature of these lessons.
On the nature walk, students will benefit from fresh air, peer engagement, physical activity, and the interaction with a diverse learning environment. Within each educational frame, they will also have the opportunity for personal reflection.
One area of concern might be the requirement of having students bring their own outdoor clothing. This could present socioeconomic barriers. The Authentic Education lesson plan requires more attentiveness from the teachers since they are all individually participating, whereas the Democratic Citizenship Education students will have peer support.
The assessment of our Authentic Education lesson plan may inadvertently be advantageous to students that are better at visual arts. Not all students may want to do a self-portrait as a form of expressing their feelings. Similarly, the Democratic Citizenship Education lesson plan might offer an advantage to students with a green thumb. We don't foresee either of these advantages being an issue.
We are not addressing the fact that the creation of the path itself had to harm nature for its construction. We also haven't addressed the origins of the trash observed or collected during the nature walk.
Our Authentic Education lesson plan underscores how nature walks benefit us as individuals. Within this framework, the importance of nature is determined by the individual. Picking up trash would be something we do to simply make our walk more enjoyable. The Democratic Citizenship Education lesson plan, on the other hand, would address how cleaning up litter benefits both nature and humanity as a whole, and how a healthy environment is not just beneficial to us in the now, but also for future generations.
As teachers, being cognizant of the different aims of each educational frame will aid in helping students develop their sense of personal awareness and the role they play in society.
Within authentic education, diversity is seen as the birthright of the individual, and so nurtured and celebrated but considered in isolation. Within democratic citizenship education, diversity is considered in the context of its impact on one another and its contribution to the grander collective.